Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. Exactly 4 years and 1 month since we began this beautiful community in a moment of dire need, perhaps for a moment just like this one. We say good morning to each other no matter where we are, no matter what's going on. We say good morning to each other. We learn together, we grow together, we share together. It's an enormous gift, and I feel incredibly grateful to all of you for being part of the creation of this community. This is broadcast 1038. Hi, Penny. And it is also day 195 since October 7th. We've been carrying all of that. All of that. And Linda is carrying that today would have been her grandmother's 125th birthday. Happy birthday to your grandmother. What a beautiful way to hold on to that love. Let's see who else is here. We can get started. Carl and Barry, Jonathan and Arlene, good morning. Hi, Anya. Hi, Debbie. Pete, good to see you. Boker Tov, everyone. My daughter is with us. She is right outside the old city of Jerusalem, sitting there anchoring our Torah in the ancient city. Shari and Haley, Stacy and Natalie, good morning. Ellen and Dale, hi Ron, hi Peter. Keith, good to see you. There are people, oh wow, this is moving very fast. If I missed you, my apologies. Valerie, thank you for your leadership, especially at Columbia. I've been following you. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you. As a fellow alum, thank you. Arlene, Dina, Caroline, Ron, your sister will be 100 tomorrow. Bless her, bless you. Amazing. Siona, today is your mother's 90th birthday, a double blessing because she's a Holocaust survivor. Yisrael Chai. Indeed. It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing that. Judy, your daughter is on her way from Denver. Amazing to see you. And friends, on Instagram, we've got not just Ariel right outside the old city of Jerusalem. We've got our dear friend, my brother, my soul brother. I was going to say Rabbi Kevin. There you go. Turned you Jewish and gave you ordination of a different kind. Reverend Kevin Weidinger, who has shared so much with me personally and who has been on our broadcast now a number of times. Perhaps he'll grace us. We'll do it again soon. Good to see you, my friend. Okay, friends. There's a lot to talk about. There will always be a lot to talk about. This holiday invites us forward and deeper, and we are rooted all over the world because of the good souls that create this community, from the old city of Jerusalem to Johnson City, Tennessee, where Deborah fishes. It's good to see all of you. Let's take a breath, sing a blessing, learn some Torah specific to Passover, and then make our way forward. Here we go. Ya la 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 la, diddy ya la la la, diddy ya la 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 la, ay ay la la. What makes this morning different from all others? For the first time in 1,038 broadcasts, I forgot that I had a guitar. And I was on key. Everybody. All right, I do need my coffee. Thank you for knowing that, and l'chaim, everybody. I already said the bracha before. It's good to see you. And Lisa, I hope the soup that you're cooking for Pesach smells great. I can smell it from here. Let's get started, everybody. There are many parts of the Haggadah. I've been really appreciating the old-fashioned one. Even though I created a new one this year, I really feel something comforting about rooting myself in an older experience of Pesach. Not even my childhood Haggadah, I used a different one. But the story that is in the Haggadah includes biblical verse that points directly to the story of the Exodus. But there is also something really important that happens if you pay attention to the layerings of the Haggadah. Because included in the script is a weaving of old verses and new verses, a reappropriation of biblical verse in order to understand the modern moment of history. We do that often. In fact, that's what we do on this broadcast here. It is really, really precious to swim through time with all of you. For the last 4 years and 1 month, I almost corrected myself because it sounded like too long. But for the last 4 years and 1 month, we have learned together every single weekday. And the world has turned over many times during that. I don't need to recount all of the headlines, but we know, friends, we know, I certainly do, and I know you do too, that part of what holds us together as time moves forward and as change continues, sometimes in positive and sometimes not so positive directions, it is powerful and beautiful to learn together, to grow together, and to root ourselves in a text that is all about this. It is all about acknowledging ancient roots and all of the experiences since. I'll give you an example. And there's a family story that comes along with this. In the Torah, the central command, what you're supposed to do in memory and in commemoration of the Exodus, is that when your child asks, you must tell them, and this would be a fulfillment of a Seder if this was the only thing, if this were the only thing that when a child asks, we would respond. We would say, we were slaves in Egypt, and with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, God saved us with signs and wonders and brought us to a promised land. Of course, that is skipping so much of the story. But here's what I want to share. Here's what I want to share. When the child asks, the rabbis 2,000 years ago hear the question. And they say, you know what? I have kids. I know children in my community. They don't all sound the same. Some of them ask questions and they sound like a chacham. They sound wise. Some of them sound like a rasha. The way they ask the question just seems to distance themselves from the experience of our family. They reject our history. Some of them just really want to know what's going on. What is this? And the fourth child, at least that the rabbis talk about in classic Haggadot, the fourth child is the one who's just overwhelmed. We usually see it as a baby, someone who doesn't know how to ask. But actually, the intensity of the fourth child is that it's just too much. Here's what I want to ask you. Which child do you feel like today? Since the Torah really doesn't talk about 4 children, the Haggadah does. And interestingly, to make the connection, the rabbis say that the Torah talks about 4 children. It doesn't. If you know your Torah, it doesn't. But the rabbis see 4 children. We have an infinite variety of humanity in our families. The world is blessed by its enormous diversity. The infinity that is the divine is reflected in our uniqueness, each of us as individuals. But what is it to discover different ways of asking questions? What is it to honor the different moments and feelings we might have, which prompts different kinds of questions? Is someone wise, or are they showing off that they know a lot? What does this moment bring out in you? A rasha? Ma ha'avodah hazot lachem? What is this service to you? And the rabbis who are worried in their day, 2,000 years ago, of Jews who distance themselves from the collective experience, there are those who do that. They say, no, 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 you have to push them away. Well, would we ever do that? Would we ever, would we ever do that? The child who just says, what is this? That feels pretty familiar. It's too overwhelming. Just somebody tell me what's going on. And let it be a reliable source of information. Let me know. Tell me where my family is. The fifth child who doesn't know how to ask, it might not be that they're a baby who's unable to articulate words. It might be that that's all of us pushed. This is using a psychologist. There's a book called The Body in Pain. I think it's Elaine Pagus who wrote it, Elaine Scary. If you look up The Body in Pain, you'll see the author. She says pain pushes us to a state anterior to language. It pushes us before we were able to articulate. And so here we are, entering into the Seder experience, knowing that we don't really have all of our abilities. We don't feel 100% whole. There's too much on us. The world is so much with us. But it is also the birthdays of so many people who we named, including Joyce. Happy birthday today. Siona, it is your father's 84th birthday. Happy birthday. No matter which child we feel like, wise, wicked, simple, overwhelmed. And the fifth child I saw Rabbi Cantorisa point to, the child who's not at the Seder. Our children. Our children. So this is what I want to say. This is what I want to say, friends. Caroline, your youngest child turns 15 today. This moment is teaching us many things. I don't think we needed the moment to know how precious our children are, but we certainly have learned again. We have understood again that the rituals of the Seder hold us tight, that the Seder itself is bigger even than the pain we're in, and that the purpose of tradition is to cultivate in us values that we continue to demonstrate with everything we've got, in the face of it all. Tell you a story. My father, who's also a rabbi, was in his last year of rabbinical school at the Jewish Theological Seminary. And he was about to do this very big moment called his senior sermon. The senior sermon is, it's a rite of passage. I did mine too. And I had already been born. Well, his senior sermon coincided with the Torah portion that includes the verse, when your child asks you. And he wondered out loud, what kind of child would his son be? I was an infant. I was in the back of the sanctuary on that Shabbat morning, and really people did not bring children to shul in those days. Thank God we've grown since. He said, what kind of child will my child be? And I screamed. My dad says he let out a geshrai. I screamed. And all of his teachers, they called that row of, I don't know if Heschel was there, but Lieberman and just some very intense teachers turned around and said, who's that kid? And he said, that's my son. So I think what we need to do, first of all, I'm glad to share an enchanting story from my childhood, but what we need to do is recognize that the Torah has always been talking about us. I want to say that again. The Torah has always been talking about us. The Torah is always speaking to you. And whether you feel in any one moment like a wise child or a rebellious one, you just need simple answers, or we're just overwhelmed and can't ask the question. And we might be all four at the same time. The rabbis, when they looked at the Torah, said, it doesn't talk about 4 children, but I see it talking about 4 children. You and I, when we look at the Haggadah, get to expand it even further. Where do you find yourself in the story? Because it's always been talking to you. We'll have one more broadcast tomorrow morning before we go into the holiday. And I bless us. I really bless us to prepare our hearts to open them again. We have beautiful work ahead. Beautiful work ahead. And we do it together. For 4 years and 1 month in this way, and for lifetimes in other ways, the Torah is speaking through us, not just to us. So, let's take our hearts in our hands, send our devotion, our tears, our prayers, our love, our joy, and maybe we'll be more whole by the time Pesach comes. We can pray for that. Kol hod balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia Olo avda tikvateinu Hatikva bat shnot alpayim Liot am chofshi be'artzeinu Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim Liot am chofshi be'artzeinu Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends. Have a beautiful day.